What if I told you that one of the most vital health monitors in your body is hiding in plain sight every single time you brush your teeth, yet you are almost certainly looking right past it? It is not your pulse, your blood pressure, or even your daily energy levels, though those are important, but a mirror, a simple light, and the very organ that dictates your body's ability to process toxins, regulate energy, and maintain the clean, clear blood flow that keeps you feeling young. I am talking about your tongue. For most people, it is just a muscle used for speaking and tasting. But in the world of clinical diagnostics and the deeper, ancient sciences of human biology, your tongue is a dynamic, living map of your internal health. And today, we need to have a serious, calm, and evidence-based conversation about what it means when that map changes color after you have crossed the age of 60. I know that sounds dramatic. I am not standing here to start a panic or suggest that every tiny blemish is a sign of a medical emergency. However, we have to acknowledge that as we enter our 60s, 70s, and 80s, our bodies communicate differently. We don't get the same loud, flashing warning signals that we did in our 20s. Instead, our body speaks in whispers. It offers us subtle clues: the quality of our sleep, the persistence of a headache, the way our skin heals, and yes, the specific lingering color and texture of our tongue. When we ignore these subtle shifts, we lose the chance to intervene early, to support our organs, and to turn the tide before a minor imbalance becomes a systemic problem. Today, we are focusing on one specific, often overlooked indicator: the discoloration of the tongue, specifically as it relates to the health of your liver. Welcome back to the channel. This is the place where we strip away the noise and the marketing hype to get straight to the real science of aging, longevity, and metabolic health. My goal here is simple: to provide you with the tools, the knowledge, and the confidence to be the primary architect of your own well-being. Today's topic is one that genuinely surprised me when I started connecting the dots between modern hepatic diagnostics and the visual indicators that have been studied for centuries. We are going to look at why your tongue is a mirror for your liver, what specific colors you absolutely need to stop ignoring, and the science-backed, actionable steps you can take to support your liver, enhance your detoxification pathways, and restore your internal balance. Stick with me, because if you are over 60, this is information you cannot afford to overlook. To understand why the tongue changes, we have to understand the liver. In modern Western medicine, we often treat the liver as a static factory. It cleans the blood, it produces bile, it stores energy. But in the context of longevity, the liver is the body's most sophisticated, intelligent, and hard-working control center. It processes everything: every medication, every nutrient, every metabolic byproduct, and every environmental toxin you encounter must pass through the hepatic gates. As we age, that factory doesn't just keep running. It accumulates the wear and tear of decades. It is a process we call hepatic aging. But the liver is unique because it is the only internal organ capable of significant regeneration. It wants to heal. It is constantly trying to balance the input of a modern life with the structural limitations of an aging system. When the liver is overwhelmed, whether by the cumulative burden of long-term medication use, persistent low-grade metabolic inflammation, high-sugar diets, or simply the natural slowing of its cellular turnover, it stops being able to process everything at its peak efficiency. This backup, this metaphorical traffic jam in the blood, manifests systemically. And because the tongue is a highly vascularized surface covered in a thin, permeable mucosal lining, it reacts almost immediately to changes in your blood chemistry, your hydration, and your lymphatic drainage. This is why it is one of the first places your body shows signs of internal struggle. Let's talk about the colors. The first one, and perhaps the most important one to watch for, is a thick, persistent yellowish coating on the tongue. In many clinical traditions, this is called the damp heat indicator. When your liver is overworked, it struggles to manage the flow of bile. Bile is the key fluid your liver uses to process fats, but it also carries away processed toxins. If that flow is sluggish, or if there is underlying inflammation in the gallbladder or liver, the pigments associated with bile and metabolic waste can manifest as a yellowish tint on the surface of your tongue. This is not the temporary stain you get from drinking coffee or tea. This is a coating that persists even after you brush. It often comes with a bitter taste in your mouth, especially in the mornings, and it can be a sign that your digestive fire, the acidity and enzyme production needed for healthy nutrient absorption, is misaligned. Then, there is the pale, white, or overly smooth tongue. A pale tongue often points toward a different kind of liver burden, the exhaustion of the hepatic energy reserves. After 60, we often see a decline in the production of vital nutrients and blood-building factors. When the liver is struggling to manufacture the proteins and blood cells required for daily function, the tongue becomes ghost-like. It loses its healthy, rosy pink hue. This isn't just about color, it is about the texture. If your tongue looks swollen or has tooth marks along the sides, that is a sign of fluid retention and cellular congestion. It tells us that your body is holding on to waste because the liver isn't effectively moving that fluid through the kidneys and out of the system. A third color that demands attention is a deep purplish or bluish hue, especially if there are visible, prominent veins underneath the tongue. This is a classic sign of blood stasis. In the world of internal physiology, stasis is the enemy of longevity. It means that the blood is thick, sluggish, and not circulating as freely as it should. The liver is responsible for regulating the volume and flow of blood. When it becomes congested, the circulatory system slows down and blood pools in the tissues. You can see this visually reflected in the tongue. If you see dark spots, or if your tongue looks darker than it did 10 years ago, your body is telling you that the oxygenation process is struggling, and your liver is working overtime just to maintain the status quo. Why does this matter after 60? Because the body's repair crew is not as fast as it used to be. In your 30s, you could eat a heavy meal, take a few over-the-counter pain relievers, and not sleep well, and your liver would recover in 24 hours. By 60, that recovery window stretches. If you ignore these color changes, you are essentially letting a small, solvable imbalance become a chronic, systemic stressor. When the liver is under duress, the rest of the body pays the price. You might feel a chronic, low-level fatigue that you just cannot shake with a nap. You might notice your skin looking dull or developing liver spots that are actually markers of oxidative stress. You might feel a heaviness in your right side, under the ribs, that you assume is just gas or digestion. All of these are connected. They are the body's way of saying, the filter is clogged and we need to address it. But here is the empowering part. The liver is not a lost cause. It is the most resilient organ you have. You do not need to subject yourself to extreme, dangerous detox cleanses or expensive, unproven supplements to help it. In fact, most of those liver detox kits sold on the internet are actually quite harmful to an aging liver because they force it to work even harder to process intense, concentrated plant chemicals. What your liver needs is consistency, gentle support, and the removal of the specific daily burdens that keep it in a state of crisis. The first step in supporting your liver is optimizing your hydration, but not just with plain water. As we age, our intracellular hydration, the water inside our cells, decreases. We need to introduce minerals that help the liver process fluids efficiently. Adding a small, consistent amount of electrolytes, specifically magnesium and potassium, can make a massive difference in how your liver processes blood volume. Think about incorporating herbal infusions that have been shown to support hepatic function, like dandelion root or milk thistle, but use them as gentle teas, not concentrated pills. These herbs have been used for centuries because they support the production and flow of bile, helping your liver to flush the system naturally without force. Second, we need to talk about the liver burden of medications. After 60, polypharmacy, the practice of taking 5, 6, or more medications daily, is the norm. Every single one of these drugs has a metabolic cost. I am not telling you to stop your prescribed medication. That would be dangerous. But I am telling you to have a hard conversation with your doctor. Ask them, which of these is absolutely essential, and are there any that are taxing my liver function? Sometimes, by simply spacing out your medications or checking for drug-drug interactions that you aren't aware of, you can significantly reduce the internal work your liver has to do every single morning. Third, Look at your fiber intake, specifically the role of soluble fiber. Fiber is the liver's secret weapon. When the liver creates bile to digest fats, it dumps that bile into the intestines. In a healthy system, a lot of that bile is meant to be reabsorbed. But if your liver is congested, that bile can be dirty, filled with the toxins you are trying to get rid of. Soluble fiber, found in oats, chia seeds, flax seeds, and certain cooked root vegetables, acts like a sponge in your gut. It binds to the bile and drags it out of the body through your waste, forcing your liver to create new bile. This is the most effective, safest way to detox your system. It keeps the flow moving and prevents the reabsorption of metabolic waste. Fourth, consider your environment. We live in a world filled with synthetic chemicals in our cleaning supplies, our plastics, our air, and our processed foods. Your liver has to process every single one of these. As an older adult, you have to be more deliberate about minimizing this toxic load. Switch to glass or ceramic for food storage, opt for natural cleaning products, and try to eat as many whole, unprocessed foods as possible. Every gram of synthetic chemical you don't ingest is one less gram your liver has to work to filter out. It is a simple equation of supply and demand. By reducing the demand on your liver, you allow it to focus its limited energy on repair and regeneration. Fifth, let's talk about the role of movement and circulation. The liver is tucked under your diaphragm, and it relies heavily on the physical movement of your body to keep blood circulating through it. If you spend most of your day sitting, you are essentially causing your liver to stagnate. You don't need to be running marathons. Even simple, consistent movement, like gentle walking, stretching, or breathing exercises, helps to massage the liver and keep the blood moving through the hepatic portal system. Deep abdominal breathing is especially powerful. When you breathe deeply, you pull your diaphragm down, which physically compresses and releases the liver, acting like a pump to push old blood out and bring fresh, oxygenated blood in. It is such a simple, free, and incredibly effective way to support your organ health. Finally, I want to talk about the mindset. We have been conditioned to view aging as a period of inevitable decay, as if we are just waiting for our parts to break. That is a dangerous, limiting belief. Your body is a masterpiece of biological engineering, and it is capable of healing itself if you just give it the right environment. Watching your tongue color is not an act of fear. It is an act of stewardship. It is the difference between a landlord who ignores a leaking pipe until the ceiling collapses and one who monitors the system, makes the necessary adjustments, and ensures the structure lasts for decades. You are the landlord of your body. Look at your tongue in the mirror tomorrow morning, before you drink your coffee, before you brush. Note the color. Is it pink and healthy, or is it coated, pale, or dark? And then, keep a simple record. If you see a shift, don't rush to the internet to self-diagnose, but do take it as a data point. Look at your diet over the last few days. Did you have too much sugar? Did you skip your fiber? Have you been under stress? Use this information to nudge your lifestyle back toward balance. If you notice a persistent change that doesn't resolve after a few days of cleaner living, then take that information to your doctor. Tell them exactly what you've observed. Being able to give your doctor clear, specific, and observed data is how you get the best, most personalized care. I want to pivot back to the importance of consistency in our daily habits. We often talk about health hacks or miracle cures, but the truth is that longevity is entirely the result of the mundane, quiet daily choices we make. Drinking a glass of water when you first wake up, adding a scoop of flax seed to your morning routine, taking 10 minutes to walk after dinner. These aren't flashy, but they are the bedrock of a healthy liver. They are the habits that protect your internal environment. When you build your life around these simple, supportive actions, you are essentially stacking the deck in your favor. You are ensuring that your liver has the resources it needs to keep you strong, clear-headed, and energized. Think about the quality of life you want to lead in your 70s and 80s. Do you want to be tethered to a system that is constantly struggling to clear its own waste, or do you want to be out in the world, active, clear-eyed, and full of vigor? The difference is almost entirely in the state of your metabolic health, and the liver is the engine of your metabolic health. If the engine is clogged, the car doesn't go. But if the engine is clean, if the filter is clear, you can go almost anywhere. It is an investment in your future self. I've spent a lot of time analyzing the data on hepatic health and the common pitfalls we fall into as we get older, and there is one thing that stands out above all else. We are far more in control than we realize. We aren't just passive bystanders in our own aging process. Every single day you are making decisions that either accelerate the aging of your tissues or support their resilience. When you choose to support your liver, you are choosing to support your brain, your heart, your energy levels, and your mood. It is all connected. You cannot have a healthy brain if your blood is sluggish and filled with unprocessed metabolic waste. You cannot have a strong heart if your circulation is struggling because your hepatic filter is overwhelmed. Everything starts with the liver, and the health of the liver is reflected in the health of your tongue. I genuinely want to emphasize that this is a conversation you should be having with yourself, with your loved ones, and with your healthcare team. If you are noticing changes, start there. Start by asking questions. Don't be afraid to be the person in the room who cares about the details. Your health is not a mystery to be solved. It is a system to be maintained. And you are the one with the best view of how that system is performing day to day. If this video has helped you look at your own health in a new way, if it has given you a sense of agency and a clear path forward, please hit that like button. It is a small gesture, but it genuinely helps the algorithm bring these vital, science-backed health insights to other seniors who are looking for exactly this kind of practical, grounded, and empowering information. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. We are going to continue this journey together, exploring the real, actionable science of aging well, without the fear and without the marketing fluff. We have so much more ground to cover, from the secrets of maintaining long-term metabolic flexibility to the simple daily rituals that keep your blood flow optimized and your cellular health protected. I would absolutely love to have you along for the ride. Please, leave a comment below. I read every single one of them. What are you seeing in your daily health check-ins? Have you noticed changes in your tongue color, or have you found specific, gentle habits that have made a massive difference in how your energy feels? Your stories are the lifeblood of this community. When you share your experiences, you are helping someone else realize they aren't alone, and you are providing valuable, real-world data that helps all of us learn and grow. Take a moment to really look at your tongue tomorrow, and let's keep this conversation going. Be kind to your body, treat your liver with the respect it deserves, maintain your daily rituals of support, and I will see you in the very next one.